Well, hi, thanks for talking to me. It's nice to talk to you again. Appreciate it. I
Uh,
enjoyed season two. So I guess to
all
start
right.
off, can you just sort of talk about what's your character's journey this season? Where's he headed?
Jim Chee's journey. He's a private eye now. You've seen season one. I don't know how much you've seen of season two, but
All of it. Yeah, I watched
ah,
all of it,
that's
so I'm
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so yeah, it's kind of like a revival for him. He's finding his center again. He's going back. He's back into his community. He's trying to live in a good way, and living in Hejo, living in balance, and he's trying to give back to his community in some ways. He's taking on these cases with like little to no money sometimes. And he's living in a seedy motel. He's a young guy. Stuff happens. You see it first scene when I come back in, and then uh, he's he's finding his way. He's his own man. And then he gets thrust into this new little mystery case by Rosemary Vines, and he's very skeptical of her. Something just doesn't sit right with him. She's not telling all the truth here, and so he's trying to navigate that, but he's also he doesn't want to give off too much of like what he's thinking, what he thinks he knows, all that stuff, because he's a deep thinker, and he's got a job to do, and he also has to you know wear masks sometimes, and be strong even in the face of his own mortality that he has to come to terms with. I think for him, he thought he was kind of invincible, especially after his encounter with Widover and getting through that. Uh, you know, Pretty smug back in season one. I think now it's like he's kind of humbled himself, and he's hurt people, and he's trying to get back to like Bernadette and back to Joe. And I think the case we get intertwined with Dudley Porn's story as well. So it's nice that we get to partner up as more of like contemporaries rather than he's my superior and I'm his
Yeah.
subordinate. So I think that shines through our dynamic this season. So that's a nice little taste that we get to pepper in there. And I think his journey of coming back and settling in and going back to his roots, and also moving forward with what he knows, what he's learned, his skills, and also just taking the time that's needed. That you can't just force this. There, you can be like, oh, I'm gonna be the best dude. I'm gonna help out the community. I'm gonna chop wood every weekend. It's a slow burn, and you see that with Joe and with his character with Jim going back and trying to reconnect with Bernadette, which is like pulling teeth for him, and apologizing, because he's in the hospital, and all he can think about is like all all of his like regret, I guess, that he has to live with, and just thinking of his mortality. And then another, like, the guy comes back to try to finish the job, and and just the physicality that we get to play with this season is awesome. I love the journey that he can, he gets his stuff done. Even when he's has a bullet hole in him, he's still fighting for his life, fighting for the case, and trying to build his relationships. So it's a cool, and I think he finds his strength by the end of it, where especially in the face of Rosemary Vines, when she's asking him to go to Acapulco with her, and he's like, what are you talking about? I can't do that. Like, I already tried to leave this place once,
It
actually
didn't work so
twice.
well.
Yeah, so I think it's good that he's really trying to put his foot down and try to actually set some foundation for his life in the future, and I think that's nice.
Right. So speaking of Rosemary, can you talk a bit about working with Jerry Ryan this season? As both of her scenes were with you.
Yeah. Jerry Ryan, what a legend. Like how cool was that she got on to the show, among a bunch of other castmates that we just got this season. They're so awesome. I love it. Like it just felt so good having all of them come on here, but Jerry specifically, like the scenes between her and I think they were I was kind of nervous at first when I was working with her, but it was cool. It kind of dissipated. We started laughing and joking around by the end of it. So it's really kind of like a dream come true to work with such greats, like her.
Well, you get quite a bit of action this season. Like you said, he comes after you and everything without spoiling too much. But
Right.
do you enjoy that part of it, or did you find any part of that difficult when in regards to like that side of it?
Like physical.
Yeah, like the
all
physical
the
parts of it.
stunts. Yeah.
I say
Oh
too
yeah.
much without spoiling what happens, but
Right. Yeah. No, I loved it. I love just being physical. I grew up with 4 older brothers, so it's not new to me. But there were some aspects where it's like, oh, I got to remember I have a bullet wound here, so I can't be as physical as I'd like, especially on like the right side. I'm like, just everything has to come from the left side, and then having to remember that, especially when you're running around in a hospital. And then like, I think the hardest part was when I had to like hoist myself up into this little crawl space. I'm like, how would you, I feel like you wouldn't have like the motion or the strength to do that. But I guess adrenaline is just
yeah.
the kicker there. So you're just like, oh yeah, no, he could totally do that.
We'll just believe it.
Heightened adrenaline. You're like, yeah, dude, he probably messed up his shoulder even more, probably tore some more ligaments in there. But he had to survive. He's a survivor. So that was fun. And then I got to work with what was his name? He was a UFC fighter. And I get a scene with him later on in like episode 5, and I'm at the People of Darkness like ceremony thing going on.
Oh, that, yeah.
And and I got to fight this dude, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I'm still hurt, but I'm like, I hit the dude in the face and all this stuff, and like fight these dudes. I'm like, what the heck, running around, jumping. It was fun. I love playing around like that.
Like, I wanted to ask you last season you said that one of the hard things was not like cracking up a lot and wanting to have fun in that. Did you still find that the same thing this season then? Because I know you talked about laughing with her. Did you find a lot of that?
Yeah. Every time, in between, from cut to the next action of the takes in the scenes, it's just, we're just giggling and like joking about the stupidest stuff. And like, it was really hard, especially the scene. You've seen it. So me and Bernadette were in her trailer during the eclipse, and that whole time we were just goofing off. And it's like, I feel like this is such an awkward scene for us. Like let's make it even more awkward. So it was really fun doing that, and especially with Zon. Zon's, what a character. We're always goofing off too. And Nick Logan, surprisingly, Colton Wolf, he's a freaking assassin. But off camera, he's like me. I don't know. We're like 2 of the biggest goofballs, and like you couldn't get us to shut up half the time. And it's funny because our characters never even talk to each other. Yeah. We just fight.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about out of time. But let me ask you quickly: if you hopefully get a season 3, who's somebody you'd like to have more scenes with?
Ooh, who would I want to have more scenes with? Oh, dang. If they bring A back, I'd like to work with him more. I love A. A. Martinez plays Gorda Santa. Sally Groentunder, I feel like we never get to interact. Emma, like we didn't even really interact at all this season. And like,
I don't think you did. Yeah.
I think that would have been nice. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head, but like I just love the world we're living in, the world we're building, the family that we've come to grow. I hope that we can keep it going.
Yeah, I hope to see you season 3. Well, they gave me a 3-minute warning. I think it's been more than 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate your time. So thank you. Have a good day. Like I said, I
did
enjoy. Looking forward to everybody else seeing it, and then I can talk about it.
Yes, I know, right? You got to hold it in.
Yeah.
I did it, so it's like, oh my gosh. I try to throw it out of my mind.
I want to say 2 days. I think I watched it in 2 days. I watched it all together anyway. So
Nice. Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait to see it all.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Jamie. You too.